Hey pups, RP here, and welcome back to another fanfiction reading video. And today's story is going to be yet another Random Doom related fanfiction. If you guys have no idea what Random Doom is, it is a Pokemon fan comic by the user TamrinFrog, formerly known as Behind TG. And I have been a huge fan of that series since I was a young teenager. And I will leave a link to Tamrin's DeviantArt in the description below, as well as her YouTube channel. And I think she also has a Picarto channel, as well as maybe a Twitter or something. I'll leave all her social links in the description below so you can follow her. And that series brings back a lot of positive memories for me. And it's what inspired me to start my own DeviantArt page and everything. But before I ramble on, let's talk about the fanfiction. This fanfiction is by Axel230, and it is titled Fever. And reading the description of the story itself says, just a quick dabble, I started back in winter and couldn't leave it there unfinished, so I was instantly inspired when I saw one of Tamrin's webcam pictures, and they provide the link, of poor little sick Vincent. Fun fact, when I first started typing this, I got a slight case of a temperature minutes after, so I had to come to a stop. I know it could be mere coincidence, but it freaked me out a bit. Ooh. And I'd freak out too if that were me, buddy. But anyway, this is a little short story of Vincent, who is a Riolu character, and he gets sick, has a fever, etc., etc. So that's pretty much it. And if you want to read along, I will leave the link to the fanfiction in the description. And with all being said and done, let's get right into it. Achoo! A young Riolu sneezed violently. Vincent, you okay, buddy? A Toxicroak asked, worried about his little friend. I'm fine, Rupert. Nothing to worry about. The Riolu managed to smile, just be instantly interrupted by another sneeze. Both of them knew it was a lie. The young Riolu laid in bed, his head deep red, burning in fever. Here, blow. And Inferni handed him a tissue as she pressed it against his nose. Vincent did as he was told, before taking the tissue out of her hand. Thank you for... Achoo! Before being able to do something about it, he sneezed right into her hand. I'm sorry. He apologized in a frail tone, before turning away in shame. The Inferno took her hand away, and reached for yet another tissue. Don't worry, Vincent. It wasn't your fault, she said as she wiped off her paw. Now, if this had happened any other time, she would have yelled at him, and got out of the room in order to properly wash her paw. Yet just couldn't remain angry with the little Riolu when she saw him like this. Blame it on me for the bright idea of playing out in the rain. Don't be that hard on yourself, Veruca. You didn't mean to... However, before Vincent could even finish, the door opened, revealing a shiny pink Baneri, slowly entering the room, a look of guilt on her face. Vincent, just came to see... How are you doing? The Baneri asked, through a grimace as she got closer to the bed. I guess I'm doing a bit better. Vincent managed a rather weak but sincere smile towards her. Yet his actions betrayed his words, as he burst out into another sneeze. Yeah, hoped so, the Baneri stated as she faked a smile. But it wasn't long before her facade was revealed as she burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Vincent. I didn't mean for you to end up like this. She spoke in between sobs as she buried her head into the blankets. Vincent wasn't feeling good for a start, and now was feeling terrible. Not sure how to react, he simply reached out a paw for her. Cotton, really, it's okay. It wasn't your fault. You were just trying out that rain dance. I know, but I should have been more careful. I didn't want you to get sick, she managed to say between her sobbing. The Riolu was out of words at this. Sure, she could have been more careful with it, but maybe the fact that neither him, Veruca, or Rupert had seeked for shelter and decided to remain outside when the rain started could have something to do with it too. A small chuckle came from him as he remembered this. Veruca looked so funny when soaking wet. It was only until he heard another sniffle that he snapped back into reality. I'm serious, Cotton. It wasn't your fault. He's got a point, intertwined Veruca. It was mine. I should have told him to get inside. Same goes for Rupert. It was my fault as a leader. Come on, Veruca. No one is blaming you. We did have some fun out there, right, Vincent? Rupert added in, almost chuckling. However, this barely lasted a moment since he remembered Vincent's current condition. Seeing the silence that invaded the room at the mention of his name, Vincent decided to do something about it. Well, I must admit, Guys, Master's calling for you. Dinner is ready. Raichu stepped into the room. So, how are you doing, Vincent? Want me to ask Master to bring yours here? No thanks, Ross. I'm not hungry at all, he replied as he dropped into the bed once more. Alright, just let me know if you change your mind, Ross added as he stepped out of the room. He was shortly followed by Cotton, and then Rupert. Only Veruca remained for a moment. I'm off to take a bite. Try to get some rest for a while. Okay? Vincent simply nodded at her as he curled into himself on the bed and watched her leave. However, it didn't take him long for him to start feeling lonely. It wasn't their fault though. Veruca and Rupert kept him company almost all day, and had even skipped lunch to remain with him. He understood they needed some rest. Maybe he did too. He let out a long sigh, closed his eyes, and tried to embrace sleep. As he did so, he became lost in his own thoughts, and out of all of them, one kept on troubling him. Why had it been only him that had gotten sick after the rain? The more thought he gave into it, the clearer the answer became. It was perhaps he was too young. It seemed like a distant thought at first, kept making more and more sense as it came back to him. Both Rupert and Veruca could resist a lot more than he could, both in and out of battle, where they were both, unlike him, evolved. And as well, they had evolved already, and he hadn't for the very same reason. They were older than him. As the thought came on deeper, without realizing it, he sulked as a grimace crossed his face and curled even tighter. It was the very same reason he was ashamed of Riolu being unable to sense aura, the same reason no one ever took him seriously, the same reason Veruca would never feel for him what he felt for her, Veruca. Now that he thought of it, it was ridiculous to even keep trying. She had seen him hatch, for crying out loud, and back then, she wasn't even that young. There was no way she could feel the same way for him. At most, she saw him as an annoying little brother. It would never be more than that. The room eventually began to feel colder. He wrapped the blankets even tighter around himself, but it seemed to make no difference at all. He tossed and turned, trying to get the thought out of his mind. By doing so, he was only overwhelmed by his mind and the coldness around him. Then, all of a sudden, he felt a familiar, warm sensation. It was only after he felt an arm around him that he realized. Surprised by this, he turned his head to see a familiar light lying next to him. It somehow made him feel safe. Veruca? He asked, a bit shocked. I'm not even that hungry anyway, she said as she lied down right next to him. A goofy smile invaded Vincent's face as she did so. Let it go unnoticed by Veruca, who couldn't help but smile as well. So, feeling better? A bit, he replied sincerely. His eyes slowly drifted into a peaceful slumber. Alright, and that was Fever by Axel230. Hope y'all liked that little fanfiction reading. And if you want to check out Axel's page or TamrinFrog's page, I will leave links in the description below for their DeviantArt profiles and their other socials as well. If you want to check out their artwork, their stories, their content, etc, etc, etc. And that does it for another fanfiction reading. If you want to see more fanfiction reading audios like this one, be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe to join the Pepper Pack today. And if you want to keep up with the things I do, or just check out what I'm doing, or just check out my other things like art and stories and whatnot, I will leave links to my socials in the description below. And with all that being said and done, I will see you in the next one, pups. Cue the outro. RP is out. Peace!